All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, glory, and honors unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Makapadash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishops, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 rest of the hopeful elect out there. This is your brother, the priest, is I from GMS Atlanta, back with another edifying video. And this will be another Motb update dealing with the biometric technology and the digital ID system. Because the future of the world system, whether it be in America, whether it be overseas in Europe, Asia, Africa, the world is going digital. And everything that deals with your finances, your records, your travel, even your personal lives will be based on a digital identification and verification biometric system that will be under the watchful eye of AI, artificial intelligence. And that's being developed right now. So one of the big things that is emerging globally and in the tech world is digital identification and biometric implants, brain-computer interfaces. And these things are all a part of Bible prophecy, pursuing the Revelation, the 13th chapter, the 16th verse on down. Really, you can start at the 11th verse, where it speaks about the beast, and then the image of the beast, and then on into the mark, the Motb, as we call it, which is the mark of the beast. So I'll get some precepts, but I want to start off using this article here, where it says, reimagine UK digital ID wallet proposed by Labour think tank. And I believe the Labour Party is one of the political parties out of England and the UK, just as we have Republicans and Democrats here in the US. So they have these different parties and these think tanks that they have that, come up with the laws and bills and they talk on the emerging system. So it says public service app could merge existing ID systems, address illegal migration. So let me jump into it. It says the UK government is considering a proposal to issue a national smartphone-based verifiable digital identity credential to every adult in the country called the Brit Card. The mandatory universal national identity credential will be used to prevent illegal migration through right to rent and right to work checks, which are regulated by the Digital Identity and Attributes Framework. So let's break some of this down. So they want to develop an app that will tie in your digital records and information to a mandatory government ID card that would help or enhance the current system, but also help to improve verifying who's an illegal immigrant and who's not. And see, this is why we're seeing this crisis here in the U.S. You just had those riots out there in L.A. You had the National Guard sent out there to quell those protests, because they have to create a problem before they introduce the solution. So over here in America, the solution to the immigration problem dealing with the Israelites, which are of the Hispanic or Latin American tribes, from the tribe of Ephraim on down to the tribe of Issachar, so-called Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, uh, Central Americans, South Americans, so forth and so on. The solution is going to be digital identification and eventually the RFID implant. The micro C-HIP, as we teach, is the mark of the beast here at GMS, and we are correct about that. But what's going on in Europe is they're just going to introduce the system. See, the way that they're pushing it in Europe is different than how they're going to push it in America. America is built off of rebellions, racial tension, and class wars. So that's why they're creating an environment of a full-blown reason. See, this is why we need this digital ID system, because you see these protests with these illegal immigrants and these Mexicans and Hispanics, and that's what they're going to do. Believe you me, that's what they're going to do. That's why the issue with illegal immigrants over here, the same talking points are being talked about, as you can see here in this article, over there in the U.S., where there's different wars and civil wars in Africa and the Middle East. So they're also dealing with illegal migration, as it says here, illegal immigrants. So they want to introduce a digital ID system. Well, best believe they want to do the same thing over here in the U.S. Okay? So, I mean, you could pretty much just take the talk here where it mentions about the UK, and you could just put the US there. It's going to be the same system. This is a program that they're setting up by the elites of Esau all around the world in different countries. Okay? And you're going to have to get the digital ID. You're going to have to be a part of the system because, as it says here, the mandatory universal national identity credential, meaning you have to have the right credentials to live in this future society, would be used to prevent illegal migration through right to rent. So basically, if they don't allow you to rent, you ain't getting no living space. You're not getting no apartment, no house, nothing. You're going to have to get the right to rent based on this mandatory digital credential. The right to work, you're going to have to get the Motb, the implant. You're going to have the national digital ID. You're going to have the right credential for the right to work. Okay? They're going to start off with migrants. But it's also going to be, as you see here, they're going to issue the smartphone-based digital identity credential to every adult in the country. So whether you're a migrant or not, but this is what's going to help with the illegal migrants. So it says, which are regulated by the DIATF. The digital ID will be built on the existing One Login and gov.uk wallet. Notice how they're tying everything to the wallet, the digital wallet. Because when you go into the prophecies in Revelation 13 chapter, and I'll get in a second, the main marker, no pun intended, but the key point of the prophecy is dealing with buying and selling, commerce, okay, merchants and mercantile and finances. Because if you control the money, then you control the people, as once was quoted by one of the elites behind the scenes. It says the digital ID will be built on the existing One Login and gov.uk wallet, which will be rebranded to the Brit Card app, according to the proposal authored by Labor Together. Let me just click on this and see if this ties back to the Labor Party. Okay, Labor Together. So this is I guess his own thing. Brit Card, a progressive digital identity for Britain. So this is a whole nother lesson in itself. Let me see here. It's like What I want to do is, let's see here, labor together. I just want to see what they're about. Okay, labor together. Core team. We are policy experts, political strategists, and pollsters. We have worked in government, the private sector, and charities and political parties, and on political campaigns. So they're like a political. I knew it had something to do with politics. Okay, well, that's all I want on that. Let's go back here. It says the British think tank is closely associated with, right, okay, I didn't read that part yet. The British think tank is closely associated with the Labour Party, right, that's what I was thinking, and was previously led by Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney. So this is what they want to do in the UK. They want to push this this new UK digital ID through a smartphone app, and this is the step before they introduce the implant. Because, like I've always said, you have to have the digital ID infrastructure. You got to have that system set up first. Then they can push the implant. The only thing that they'll do with the implant, it'll already be queued up and ready to go in the system. They'll just have to insert it, embed it under the skin, cut under the skin into the body. And then you'll be able to participate in the system. They'll tie in your unique identification, as they call it, like a PIN number, which will be tied to your personal microchip, and then you'll be added to the system. But first, they're going to use these smartphone apps. That's why, like over here in America, they got the mobile driver's license apps, which are tied to your Apple or Google Wallet, and they can put all your records on there. Your driver's license, of course. You can put your credit, debit cards. You can put your I believe there's even a system where they want to put your health insurance cards on there as well. So everything that will be tied to your personal identity, they're going to be able to put it on your smartphone. And that'll be, like I said, the step before they introduce the implant. Okay? Now I said I was going to get the precept, and I always get this. We read this precept too ad nauseum. But, GMS, that's what we're known for. We're known for going into the scriptures, going into these major prophecies, especially dealing with the Motb. So this is Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So as you can see here, it's going to be tied to buying and selling. Okay? Now when you mark someone, what they're going to do is they're going to cut under your skin when you go into the Greek, because this was translated out of the Greek. When you go into that word for mark here, it's the Greek word charagma, which the Greek is going to give you a better understanding of the word mark. So the English is not good enough for me. I have to go into the Greek to get a better understanding and get the proper context. And I got that from the Bishop Yawasop of the IUIC. He said the English is good enough for me. Well, the Bible is not just written in English. And like I did a video before, if you were to take your members of the IUIC and go over there to Greece, and you were to break down the Motb doctrine and say that the mark is sin, they're going to look at you damn stupid. They're going to say, what are you talking about? The Greek word there is charagma. And karagma doesn't mean sin. It means to cut under the skin. What are you talking about? It means to engrave something. Right? So it says here, the proper context is 2, thing, carved, sculpture, graven work. So when you carve something, all right, when you engrave something, when you sculpt something, right? Let's look up carved, right? When you carve something, so it says carved of a hard material, cut or engrave to produce an object, design, or inscription, right? So the mark is going to be something when you call it. For example, for them to make these statues that you see in the images here, they're going to have to take a carving tool, a sharp tool, and they carve into the wood or the stone, and this is what they get. Like if someone was to draw a squirrel, sin didn't carve this squirrel into this material here. It was an actual chisel. Okay, whether it was a hammer and chisel or was some kind of power tool, but they had to cut into the material to carve this squirrel. This is what is meant by the word karagma in the Greek. So IUIC, guess what? You've been proven wrong by GMS once again. See, this is what you got to do, right? Scripture says you got to study to show thyself approved, to really, really, really understand this Bible. Okay? That's why I call the IUIC McDonald's franchise Pop-Tart Israelites. You know, you got Israelites that just pop up. You know, you got Israelites popping up all over YouTube and coming up with camps and T-shirts and fringes, and then they teach what they want to teach because they take a little bit from GMS, a little bit from ISUPK, a little bit from IUIC, and they come up with their own bugged out doctrine because they have no order or no structure or no true elders over them to guide them in the truth. I call them Pop-Tart Israelites. But then you got these fast food franchise McDonald's Israelites where they wear the same shirt, the same boots, same uniform, same logo. They look and sound the same. They march in the streets, whether it's ISUPK, whether it's IUIC. You know, they all do the same thing because they're like a surface level, preschool, elementary level Israelites. They don't have a deeper understanding of the scriptures, you know. So we go deep and we get a proper understanding, okay? So when you see something, right, like what they're trying to do here in the UK, eventually they're going to introduce an implant, the Motb, the RFID chip, or here, as it is in Europe, it'll be the NFC. Okay, let me do something here. NFC. I'm just going to type in the NFC implant. And when you look up the NFC implant, this is what you see. And they put it in your hand. And what can you do with an NFC implant? Right, here you go. It says got an NFC RFID implanted in my hand. Right? And what are they using? A needle. This is the karagma. And he's what? Inserting it here. He's inserting it in his right hand. So GMS is right. And this is the next step before the smartphone let me see here. This this app, this UK digital ID wallet app, is the step before they introduce the NFC implant over here in the UK or Europe as a whole. Okay? So now that you should be edified on that. What I want to get, right? And they're doing the same thing over here in these other Asian countries. It says World Proof of Personhood Scheme, which is an agenda, launches in Taiwan, expands in Thailand. Argentina to get door-to-door orb delivery as firm pursues global expansion. So, and I spoke about World before, but let me just read this. It says World, the Sam Altman-led digital identity scheme, has entered Taiwan, and with what a release calls a responsible approach to AI. So AI is going to be tied into your digital ID verification system. Taipei will be home to a world space, a retail-style outlet in which interested parties enter a circular cell lined with orbs. So they're pretty much like cameras, and they can identify you. It says the company's eyeball-like biometric capture device. So they're going to know everything about you when they put these systems in place in these devices. You know, when you couple that with the implant, then you're pretty much going to be a slave to the system. You know, there will be no room for privacy. It says there they can have their irises scanned by an orb to become a verified human. Why do they want to verify a human? It's not that any other human being wouldn't be able to tell that you're a human. It's AI. The technology AI wants to identify you as a human. It's not that you have to prove you're a person or a human to another person. It's that AI has to be able to do that. That's how it builds on its intelligence and its learning program, because AI is supposed to be ever learning. That's why it's artificial intelligence. It's just an imitation of what a human being actually is. See, this devil Esau, he thinks he's the Most High. He wants to be God, but he doesn't want to just be God on earth over other human beings and creatures. He wants to be the Most High over all the universe and all creation. So he's using this technology that was given to him by the true Most High, Yahweh. Okay, he wants to use that technology. Technically, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, because Yahweh Shai reincarnated in a past life was Isaac, the son of Abraham, and Isaac was the one that gave his blessing to Esau to use, his blessing, which is the sword, which means to pretty much weaponize creation against other people, other nations, because part of the blessing was to rule over the planet Earth. Well, he's going to use AI as a weapon against mainly the Israelites, so-called Black Hispanics and Native American Indians, and that is the goal for this scheme or this plan or agenda by the Illuminati or by the elites of Esau behind the scenes. Okay? So they're going to use AI as a way to identify everyone. So you're going to have to prove to AI, which is their watchdog, their technological watchdog, to prove you're a person. It says there they can have the irises scanned by an orb to become a verified human. Meaning once you're a verified human, then you are part of the beast system. That's what that means. Okay? And World's Proof of Personhood Network, ostensibly to differentiate themselves from bots in a world overrun with AI. Like I was saying. Okay? Another step closer to the Motb and the beast system. Okay, the image of the beast is going digital. Okay. Let's see here. Dealing back with Europe, right? So we were speaking about the UK wallet. So you have the EU wallet as well. The EU DI wallet, crucial for the financial sector. Visa exec tells Money 2020. It says, as a trusted means of identity verification, the European Digital Identity Wallet is a present on a silver platter for financial institutions on the continent, according to Visa. Remember, they want to tie in this system, the image of the beast, to buying and selling. Okay? Revelation, the 13th chapter. The payment company's head of digital identity, Marie Ostina, believes that the digital ID system will significantly simplify establishing cross-border bank accounts for people. Looking ahead, financial institutions may be able to verify transactions. That's another buzzword, verification. Okay, verify. Okay, because it's all about AI. AI has to verify you're a person because it's a learning program. So Esau's saying instead of us having to use our frail human minds to rule the planet Earth, let us create a system that never gets tired, that can constantly watch and do the heavy work for us and create an artificial intelligence while we reap the benefits. So AI is being designed to keep the average human, the average citizen in line while the real resources of the earth are being used up by the Edomites, okay? By Esau and the rich, powerful, super elite banking families. Okay? And the scripture talks about this. Let me get a precept on the Apocrypha. Let's go to the Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. Okay? So this is Wisdom of Solomon. And I'll skip around a little bit because I want to make the point. So it says, for the ungodly said, who are the ungodly? The wicked. Okay? The heathen nations, which are starting with the nation of Edom. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. Right? What does it say in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter? It says that the heart which is lifted up is not upright in them. It's talking about Esau. They're not an upright people. They're a wicked, evil people. Okay? It says, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave, because they don't believe in Yahushua. They don't believe in resurrection and the power of the Most High, and that he has the power over life and death. So in their mind, listen, all we have is this one little life, so we're going to have to create a system where we can digitally live forever, or we can, to where our descendants will forever be in rulership. So I'm going to jump down. And this is how they think. So this is verse 5. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning. For it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. Come on, therefore, here's the point, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. So they want to create a system where they can use the creatures, use humans, use the animals, use the trees, the air, use everything to their own purpose. All right, verse 7. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by it. So they want another precept, Habakkuk, the second chapter, where they heap it to themselves, all people. They want everything to be theirs. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. They think that their houses and their name shall continue forever. Right? I'm just roughly paraphrasing, because they want to be the forever rulers of the planet, but that is not given to Edom. That's only given to the Israelites. It says, for this is our portion and our lot is this. So this is their plan. That's why they want to create these systems where they're in control. Okay? And like I mentioned before, if you can control someone's money, then you can control them. If you can control the resources of the earth, then you can control nations, so forth and so on. So it says the payment company's head of digital identity, Marie Ostina, believes that the digital ID system will significantly simplify establishing cross-border bank accounts for people. Looking ahead, financial institutions may be able to verify transactions using the electronic ID credentials housed in a customer's digital wallet. You're going to have to be attached to the image of the beast, this digital Roman system, instead of depending on their own proprietary applications. Okay? And there's more to this. Okay? All of this is a part of them establishing their the new order of the world. Okay? Here in America, the TSA developing wearable sensors to replace physical pat-downs. Everything's going digital. It says the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, and Department of Homeland Security's Science and Technology Directorate are jointly developing a wearable device known as the Wearable Sensor for Contactless Physical Assessment, for WSCPA, which could transform how TSA conducts passenger screenings at U.S. airports. This is a part of the image of the beast. Okay? Instead of using officers to pat you down, they want to use these sensors. It says the technology, if deployed, would allow contactless physical assessments that preserve passenger privacy while improving detection accuracy and safety for TSA officers. It says it is being designed as a wearable device that uses advanced touchless sensor technology to detect, interpret, and relay physical information about a person or object without the need for direct contact. So they want to do away with these officers at these travel gates and these airports and stations. And they want to use technology, which pretty much would do what? Do away with jobs. Because if you're a TSA agent and you're patting passengers down, well, then that's a job. But they wouldn't need to do that if they can utilize this technology. Okay? It says at the core of this system is a combination of haptic feedback and 3D sensing capabilities. Like, for example, when you touch your phone and it might vibrate, that's called haptic feedback. Just so you know. It says this allows a TSA officer to feel or sense the contours and composition of concealed items through tactile simulation. So it's still going to have the officers, but they're going to use this technology to help the officers. And then they're going to utilize VR technologies. So this is just another interesting article pushing the technology of this, as I call it, the digital beast system. When you read Daniel the 12th chapter, it says knowledge shall be increased. So with knowledge comes innovation and technology. You know, the more you learn, the more that, you know, certain things can develop and be created. And it's all for the purpose of Esau establishing his rule over the planet in villainy. Because Esau's a damn supervillain. Skeletor. Anyway, okay, so it says here, EU wants its digital identity wallet accepted internationally. Okay, now I mention this a lot. They want this technology and this system to be interoperable. Okay, they want it to interact and operate between different countries, whether it's digital ID, whether it's CBDC, central bank digital currency, digital wallets, so forth and so on. It says the EU unveiled its international digital strategy, outlining an ambitious plan to strengthen its position in global digital affairs. A part of this plan is supporting the development of trust services and digital identity solutions based on European digital identity wallet specifications. The bloc wants them at the core of an interoperable. Now, how did I know that word was going to be in there? Because that's their new buzzword. You're going to hear it a lot, especially out of the EU when it comes to this form. When it comes to forming this new system, that's going to be pushed out there a lot. Okay. It says, "In scalable suite of digital building blocks and solutions of partner countries," according to a joint communication published on Thursday. And all this information is from June 6, 2025, so within the last 3 or 4 days. So this is very recent. So it says at the core of the strategy is a concerted effort to scale the EU's legal infrastructure beyond its borders. Digital identity consultant Art Saab writes in a LinkedIn blog commenting on the plan. It says the EU's experience in developing open source digital identity wallets. So if they keep speaking about digital wallets, that means they're going to do away with cash. Why do you need cash and coins to pay for items when you can just credit or debit everything anyway? You're already using it. What, Trump just did away with the penny, so they're not producing any more pennies anymore. Because it costs, $2 to produce a penny, I believe, over what it's worth. You got inflation. So they're cutting costs, and they're going to push, believe here in the U.S., they're going to start pushing more and more digital identity, mobile driver's license, or MDL uses and applications in the near future, which will lead to, as I mentioned before, that Charagma, the mark, which is the Motb, mark of the beast, biometric implant. It says the EU's experience in developing open source digital identity wallets and secure and data protection compliant digital public infrastructure offer significant value beyond EU borders, says the document. It says with Ukraine, Moldova, and the Western Balkans, the bloc will continue to prepare for their gradual integration with the EU DI wallet. And Yahweh Bashar Shai is going to speed up that integration, okay? Because he's going to speed up the prophecies. Collaboration with India, Egypt, Uruguay, and Brazil will focus on e-signatures and DPI, which is digital public infrastructure, interoperability. Now, guess what? Now, here it is, you have the BRICS nations, which is another economic bloc based out of Russia and China, out of Asia. The main countries, some of the main countries, you have Brazil and India, which are Also here, as you can see, they're going to collaborate with Europe in developing this digital wallet interoperable system, which means that they're all a part of the coming New World Agenda. It says, finally, the EU's work with Japan, India, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, and Malaysia will focus on promoting the EU model for e-invoicing, which these countries are also part of BRICS. Another item on the list is promoting the European Interoperability Framework, which helps partner countries align with EU standards and practices. And who's in control of the EU? The EU, Edom, the European Union, the Edomites, which proves that this world is still given into the hand of the wicked. But the Lord is going to destroy this global digital system, mainly by destroying Babylon the Great, America. Standards and practices with the goal of cross-border. It says, another item on the list is promoting the European Interoperability Framework, which helps partner countries align with EU standards and practices with the goal of cross-border digital integration according to the strategy. Well, there's a new world strategy that includes digital identity, AI, and biometric implants, brain-computer interface technology, which is a fulfillment of Revelation, the 13th chapter, 16th verse on down, or 15th verse on down. Okay? So let me read that scripture, and I'll close. So this is Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. The beast is the Roman Empire, which has been It has been revived as the EU, NATO, and America, the U.S. And the image is the way of life. The system is now speaking, but in digital form. Okay? But the foundation is of the ancient Roman Empire, just as the modern world, Western world hegemony, which is America and the EU, is modeled after the ancient Roman Empire, but it's going to be a digital system in place in the coming future. All that's a part of the image of the beast. So prophecy is coming to pass. Okay? It says, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And you're going to be looked at as an enemy, ostracized from society in the future if you're not a part of this digital identity system. Verse 16, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, and free and bond. So all citizens, no matter your financial, your social status, whatever, your citizenship, it says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. We know that now to be the implant, RFID NFC implant. It could be the Neuralink, the Synchron implant. And this is going to be, like I said, starting out of Europe and America at first, but as you can see, it's also a part of the other countries, Asia and Africa as well. Mainly Asia, China, Taiwan, Thailand, Singapore, Russia. Okay? Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you got to be a part of this digital system, okay, in order to get those government benefits. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And when you break that down, it breaks down to being pricked or cut under the skin. And what are they going to prick or cut under the skin? They're going to give you the mark. So what is the judgment? What if you do get that implant and you comply with this system? Well, this is the judgment. Revelation 14 and 9. And the third angel followed him, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High. So you're going to be judged by the Lord, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone. That's the nuclear missiles, okay, which will turn Babylon the Great into a lake of fire. It's not talking about a river in Basra somewhere in the Middle East. It's not talking about an eternal hell. It's talking about turning a land into a molten lake of nuclear fire, which is America, in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So the Messiah himself, who the world literally calls Jesus Christ, Yahushua, he's going to be watching the destruction. The angels are going to be watching, because the Lord Yahushua is going to deliver his elect from that coming fire and brimstone, from that nuclear destruction, out of America. America's Babylon the Great. Verse 11, and the smoke of the torment ascendeth up forever and ever, for a long time, okay? Because America will eventually cool down and become a desert after that nuclear fire. And they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So if you take that microchip, that implant, then you're going to be destroyed. Verse 12, here is the patience of the saints. The saints are the Israelites, okay? Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High. So are the commandments important to keep as an Israelite? Yes. But what's more important here? And the faith of Yahushua. Okay, you're not saved by keeping the commandments. You're saved by Yahushua, being of the elect. Okay? And that's another lesson, because you got a lot of Israelites teaching, if you keep the commandments, you'll be saved. No, that's just to show that you have faith. But the ultimate faith is in Yahushua, and if you're of the elect. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. We're close to the Motb. A lot of these digital systems are being put in place. A lot of shifting to a new system is moving quick. So we're close. We're almost out of this condition of hell, right? This system of oppression. So I hope this is edifying. Shalom.